Everybody, we are doing this free pattern this week. My original palette was just these stars and this fabric. This fabric right here is Sarah Watts Ruby Star Society fabric, and it's got little bunnies and squirrels and owls on it. I'm doing this one as a modern baby quilt. These stars I'm going to actually swap out for this plus sign. We chose this fabric in the store, and I think it's going to go really well with this. I think this was just too much black on black, even though it's just a different quilt. But I think for a modern baby quilt, this is going to be absolutely beautiful. It's going to give it some sophistication. It's going to be modern. It's going to be something a little different for the moms who are not that pinky, blue, green kind of pastel-y mom. So let's get into it. I'm going to show you guys which fabric I'm going to use for what, and we'll begin cutting, and then we'll get into it. It's going to be really fast. So for our color placement, we are going to go with fabric number 1 being the star. Fabric number 2 is going to be our medium shade, and then we are going to throw fabric number 3. I was going to mock this up in pre-quilt, however, I didn't need to because they already had a mock-up that was very similar to this colorway, and it gave me all the information that I needed. So again, this is going to be 3, 2, and 1. This is a free pattern. It's temporarily free. Make sure you grab it because it will go away. So I won't be giving you guys the sizes, but this is a very, very, very simple, fast quilt. So I'm going to go on ahead and cut up all the pieces, and then I'll come back and show you what the pieces look like cut up, and then I'll show you how to put it together. My trick for fast power cutting, fabric number 1 is going to be, I'm going to fold my yard in half. All the cuts that I need are even numbers, which is nice. So for instance, it was 5. I might not do this, but since I'll be cutting 6 strips, I'm going to just go on ahead and fold it over and try to make sure I'm not losing too much fabric, freshen up that cut, and then go on ahead and make my cuts. So I'm just going to freshen up this edge here. So for fabric number 1, we have some border, some tiny border strips that we've cut out. We have our big squares, and then this is what we have left over. We have this, and then 4 more squares. So, yeah. So here are the strips, and make sure you are being careful with this, because I found that in my other strips, I did not cut away all of the selvage. Now, you guys know Ruby Star's got that super deep selvage. So just be sure that you are cutting away all of the selvage. Luckily, it didn't mess with me. I had enough. But anyway, this is what we have. We've got a ton of border strips. We've got these little guys. We've got a partial strip assembly that we'll be doing. And we are about to mark these for our half square triangles. So for the half square triangles, of course, I'm going to grab my friction pen, which is my favorite marking pen for the backs of everything. If it's going to be on the front, well, you might want to think that through to make sure it's not going to be seen. But for the back, you're good. And so I'm just going to mark all of these like this. Try to offset your ruler just a bit because you really want to hit it just at the tip, but you need to give yourself a little room for the pin, you know, to get over there so that you get as close to the center as you can. So you might need to move the ruler over just a scotch. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to chain piece, and we are going to be cooking with it. So now I've sewn down one side of all this. I've chain pieced it so it's all still together. I'm just going to keep it chain pieced and turn it on this other side, and now sew down on the other side. The same thing. They're all still connected. It's going to go really quickly. I can't believe how quickly that happened. Now I've just got to cut all these apart. I'm going to use my thread cutter, which I absolutely love. I've been using it non-stop. It's probably time for me to change out this blade. A little trick for these is whenever I find the end, or not, whatever. Do I need the end? I don't. But, okay, whatever. Twist it. So you see the threads are connecting it this way. Twist it so that it's less stress, and then going ahead and break your thread. So just give it a little twist and then break. So now I am going to cut this apart and square it up. The cool thing about trimmers and square uppers and things is you've got your options. Now I have a block lock and a slotted trimmer. First thing I'm going to do is cut these apart straight down the diagonal line. Straight down. And now I've got two pieces. Some people love block locks. I love block lock. But today I'm just going to use this because I'm feeling it. It's my slotted trimmer by, what is it? By Clearly Perfect. I'm going to move that there. All you do is put the dotted line on your sewn line, and then you're going to trim up the side and down the other side. And then you're going to just trim off these little corners right here. And then you are ready to press this open without having to worry about any dog ears. So I'm going to do that to all of these, and then we'll be back. You will have a full strip and a partial strip of these here. So here's my full strip and my tiny strip. We are going to sew this together on the end here. And then we're going to press the seam open. Now that I've sewn that together, I'm going to open up this seam. You know, my preference for opening up seams is to grab a wood press first and just open it up so that I can come back with my iron and hit it without burning my finger. Now that that's all pressed open, I'm going to grab my ruler and cut these down to size. Now, once you have your sashing strips cut and your half square triangles cut, the layout is going to go as follows. It's going to be dark side down, and you will put a sashing strip between each of these. Oh, this is getting pretty. Oh, yeah. Yep. Why is this so interesting? I'm just so tickled by this color combination. Now, you need to do this until you have 6 going across, but I have limited space, so we're going to be okay with me showing however many fit in the screen right now. And then you will sew this all together. Then across the top, your sashing strips are going to have some cornerstone blocks. So they should hit like that and like that. And you're going to go across the top in this way. And we should be good. This is going to be great. I am going to zhuzh mine just a touch. I see an opportunity here to have some fun. And so when we come back, we will sew this together. And I'll show you guys how I'm going to zhuzh this up a bit. And then we'll do the borders. So I zhuzhed it here by taking some of that leftover fabric, and instead of doing a half square triangle there, I put it in a few different places, just a solid square. Now that we have all these rows done, now I'm going to go on ahead and make the sashing row. And all I'm going to do is take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these, and one of these leftover blanks is going to be over here. And the way this should work is it should line up, you know, with this guy. So we're going to do 5 of these. And in order for it to line up, we're going to pin like the Dickens. We're going to pin, pin, pin. So you're going to do 5 of those and 1 of that guy. And then after that, you will pin this to this, and we will have a beautiful innard of a quilt. Like I always say, if you guys want to see me actually do this entire quilt for the most part, go on ahead and hang out on my live. I show myself putting together the innards of these quilts now. So I'm making border strips, and there are so many. And I'm just doing that by taking all of the strips and laying them out. And don't forget, these Ruby Star ones have these really deep, some of them have those really deep selvages, and you want to cut all those off. So I'm just stacking them up and cutting them off. And then we will just sew them end to end. I am not being persnickety about this at all, but yeah, I don't need to, because this is a tossed print. So whichever way it goes is the way that it's going to go. It's not a big deal. Now that the innards are finished and gorgeous and just, I love everything about this, we need to sew on the borders. And there are 3 borders on this quilt. The first one being this rust color. I am just going to sew all the way down and then trim it even. If you want nice and tight and square quilt, measure it first, cut the strip to that, then pin it, then sew it. This is going to be a fast finish for me. I'm going to get what I get. I'm not going to throw a fit. So I'm just going to hold it and sew it down so that this moves rather quickly. This is faster, but my borders also might be a little wavy. I'm okay if they are, not a big deal. But if this is going as a gift or something, take the time to measure and then cut your strips, pin it, and then sew it.